and welcome to the Culture Ward, where we dissect and dismember pop culture in all its forms. Before we begin, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and help us grow the channel. It really means a lot to us. And don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoy the content. Thank you for joining us once again for the weekly wrap-up, where we dive into some recent news stories without exerting too much effort. As always, let us know if there's any important news stories we missed. Now let's get into this. In 1987, Mel Brooks released Spaceballs, a hilarious spoof of Star Wars and other sci-fi tropes. On the planet Druidia, Princess Vespa runs from an arranged marriage only to be kidnapped by the evil Spaceballs, led by President Scroob and Dark Helmet, played by Mel Brooks and Rick Moranis respectively. They want Druidia's air supply for their polluted planet. Enter Lone Star, a roguish pilot, played by Bill Pullman, and his furry sidekick Barf, a Mog, played by John Candy, who are hired to rescue Vespa. They're in debt to Pizza the Hut, a Jabba the Hutt parody, and they fly a Winnebago spaceship. What follows is a zany chase through space, with the Spaceballs' massive ship, complete with a mall and a zoo, trying to suck up Druidia's air. Lone Star and Vespa fall for each other, joined by Yogurt, the Yoda-like guru who teaches them about a mystical force known as the Schwartz. Gags fly fast, light speed becomes ludicrous speed, there's a literal plot twist with a VHS tape, and Dark Helmet's Darth Vader shtick is comedy gold.
I can't breathe in this thing!
Spaceballs is a masterclass in parody, and pretty much set the standard going forward. Mel Brooks nails absurd humor, blending sharp sci-fi jabs with fourth-wall breaking gags, like when the characters sell Spaceballs merch in the movie.
Spaceballs the t-shirt, Spaceballs the coloring book, Spaceballs the lunchbox, Spaceballs the breakfast cereal, Spaceballs the flamethrower. That kids love this.
The cast is perfect. Moranis' whiny Dark Helmet steals every scene he's in. Candy's Barf is lovable, and Pullman's Lone Star, kind of an analog of both Luke Skywalker and Han Solo wrapped into one, who balances charm and goofiness. One of the ongoing gags in the movie is the branding of things with the Spaceball moniker, like Spaceballs the movie, Spaceballs the t-shirt, and Spaceballs the sequel. One of the gags was actually teasing a sequel that was never intended to happen. But oh, how time makes fools of us all. Here we are 35 years later with a Mel Brooks who is rapidly approaching his 100th birthday, and it was announced this past week that Spaceballs 2 is officially in development. So Spaceballs 2 is finally happening with original cast, and there's a trailer. Spaceballs 2 is finally making its way to theaters after 40 years, and it is set to feature unbelievable original cast members. Mel Brooks also appears in a hilarious trailer for the upcoming movie, bringing his Star Wars parody to new audiences. Spaceballs was Brooks' lampooning of all things Star Wars, with other classic sci-fi films thrown in, like Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. One of the many things Spaceballs parodied was merchandising and putting their title on everything, which also poked fun at George Lucas's financial windfall thanks to Star Wars merchandise. However, this also saw the movie end with a tease of a sequel, which played well as a joke, but also gave fans something to hope for. While the sequel never materialized, Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2 finally saw the light of day, and with its success, Spaceballs 2 gained momentum. It was announced in 2024 that Josh Gad and others would be working on the parody sequel, and now it looks like they finally have their plans well in motion. As reported by Deadline, Spaceballs 2 will officially open in theaters in 2027, and Mel Brooks will produce it. Brooks will also reprise his role as Yogurt, Spaceballs' take on Yoda. Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis returning to their respective roles, and Keke Palmer joins the cast in an unknown role. The film has been described as a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel Part 2, but with reboot elements franchise expansion film. To throw the excitement surrounding the sequel into ludicrous speed, there's also a hilarious Spaceballs 2 announcement trailer to watch. Interesting side note, Rick Moranis' return for Spaceballs 2 truly stands out, as he actually retired from acting in the 1990s to focus on his family. While he has made minor appearances recently, like in Ryan Reynolds' Mint Mobile commercial, Spaceballs will mark one of his first starring roles in years. Bill Pullman has continued to act, and his son Lewis Pullman has found recent success with Top Gun Maverick and Thunderbolts. Brooks serving as a producer is expected, though at 98 years old, returning as Yogurt is a welcome surprise. Spaceballs 2 will need to acknowledge some actor deaths, as John Candy and Joan Rivers have passed away. Barf and Dot Matrix were key characters in the original, so fans will expect them to at least be mentioned. Furthermore, Daphne Zuniga was left out of the currently announced cast, but audiences may also be expecting her return, as she has continued to act over the years as well. Further details on Spaceballs 2 will follow as the project heads into production. So that's it. I mean, I love this movie so much. As a huge Star Wars fan myself, even as a kid, this movie hit all the right spots. What's your favorite Spaceballs moment? Are you looking forward to the new sequel? Let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Bye for now. I hope to see you next time in the Culture Wars.